Dusty Baker. Little that's what he said action. Long time manager, 26 years managing in Major League Baseball, and he's calling it. That's it. And, he spoke earlier today about how he'd like to still be a part of the game as an advisor, preferably with a team on the West Coast. Owner Jim Crane of the Astros said open invitation for him to help out their front office, be a part of their front office. But it sounds like he wants to be even more west so he can hang out. He's got the vineyards and he's got a lot of hobbies. He's a Renaissance man. But he also said he wants to help people off the field like Hank Aaron did. So it was cool to hear from Dusty earlier today. And he had great lines as usual. One of them was really good. I'm looking for it. He said, most guys are at home collecting Social Security at 70-something years old, which I'm also doing. So he still wants to be active. Well, did you have a relationship with him? Your thoughts on really this last stage of his career too, which he said was the kind of the fastest 4 years of his life because there was so much winning. He and Jim Crane gave him a lot of credit. He came over to a team that had the worst reputation in modern history based off the cheating scandal. And he was a great spokesman for them during that time period to get him through it.
Yeah, I feel like he handled everything well as far as answering the tough questions. But a guy like Dusty, you have to find a way to keep guys like him in the game. And he wants to be around. He wants to be a part of baseball. He wants to help people. So you got to find a way, whether that be with the Astros or with another team, to keep him in the game. Because I didn't get an opportunity to kind of meet him. It's kind of just, hey, how you doing? I was a rookie when I met him. So, of course, I didn't talk much when I was coming up. So, but yeah, I think guys like that keep him in the game. You see how his team is reacting to him. They love him. They're jumping on top of him. So guys like that, they must stay in the game because they add such value to this game.
Yeah, the stories are incredible. Any of you guys spent good time with him? I have. I mean, the same thing. It's like the manager meetings and covering the Astros for years. It's the kind of guy where, we always talk about what the manager meetings are like before you call games. He's one where he's super comfortable, almost so comfortable that you look up, it's been like 20 minutes and you've barely talked about the game, right? You've talked about something else, which is entertaining. It's just, he's so full of like knowledge and history and all of that. And he's just been around the game for such a long ass time,
Yeah. And he's comfortable in his own skin and he trusts his feelings and he trusts what he's doing. It's a huge difference compared to a lot of managers. A lot of managers they don't trust themselves. They don't trust what they're doing. And Dusty's like, I've been through all this stuff. And so when you go talk to him, he's great. I told you the story. We're sitting there in the LDS and he's handing us cards like, hey, look, this is why we're doing this. And you're like, what? Should I see this?
But he's like, fuck it, I'm retiring.
But I'm like, okay. Right. So, I mean, it's just cool. I'll never forget Dusty. 2004, 2003, he was obviously in San Francisco, just gone to the Cubs, right? And I thought I was getting traded to the Cubs that year. I got traded to San Francisco. I thought I was going to the Cubs, like it was done. And I ended up going to the Giants. Well, so I see Dusty that in spring training, and Dusty's like, hey, man, I know you like to fish and you like to do outdoors. And he gave me like a list of like people. He's like, here, call these guys. They'll take care of you if you ever want to fish in the Bay Area. Like out of nowhere. Like, I had never even, other than, hey, Dusty, how you doing? I'd never had like a full-on conversation with him. So it was pretty cool that he did things like that. And it just every time I see him, he's always smiling on his face. Hey, he always had Alexa playing. He's like, hey, Alexa, stop and do our meeting. And as soon as we walk out, you hear the Alexa kick back on. Just things like that. He's just one of the guys you want to hang out with.
He brought treats too all the time and just food. Like he talked about it for years. I don't know if he always did it during his managerial career, but he even jokingly mentioned that when the Chas McCormick story broke about him saying he needs to drop a few, and he was like, I don't care. He's like, I bring him cookies or something like that. Pudding.
Banana pudding, I think it was.
Yeah.
I never met him. Just playing against him when he was managing with the Nats. But when you talk about confident, like a confident person, that's why he can delve into his players. That's why he can really impact his players. Because he's confident in who he is. No matter what builds his confidence, he is confident in who he is. And everybody from Todd to anybody that played with him when he was at all of his other stops, they've all said like he communicated so well. And he would talk to a Todd who was playing every day. He would talk to remember Lance Nix was telling me he was, a bench guy and he had success under Dusty, but he helped him have that success because he would talk to him and had such great communication with him because he wasn't worried about like stupid stuff for himself. He was, so that confidence that you guys talk about that, I never met him, but you could see he exuded it. That's what makes him such an impact on these teams and the players that he managed.
Okay, so next layer here, because then we're going to talk to Sterling Thompson, Rockies prospect, who's out in the Arizona Fall League. We'll chat with him for a few. And by the way, later on, Kike Hernandez, Jose Trevino. We might grab a player from the World Series. So a lot of action today. But there are a number of candidates being mentioned. Jim Crane, owner of the Astros, he's more involved than most owners. And I'll criticize some owners for being too involved. He can be involved. It's worked well for them in terms of winning. So that's fine. Clearly knows what he's doing. But they said it's going to be a fluid, kind of quick process. They'd like to get a replacement there as soon as possible. Bob Nightingale put out a tweet pretty recently saying Brad Ausmus and Joe Espada are strong candidates, and that Ausmus, I forgot about this, was runner-up to Dusty for manager and then to Dana Brown for general manager. So clearly there is a relationship, and they like him, and he's finished close. I'll start because I have a little experience on this front, and you guys probably have more. I think hiring Brad Ausmus would be a mistake. I'm just going to go that far. I've had a lot of negative reviews from players. Does not treat media well. I would say that right to him. Love an apology someday from him to many people that he has not been nice to. And I'm shocked that he keeps getting jobs. And I don't go that far that often. It's not a personal attack. It's just I don't get it. And actually I want to like him. Liked him as a player. Thought he was going to be a star as a manager or front office member. I think many did, and it hasn't worked out. And I can only go off of what I'm hearing from other players, going back to the Detroit days, then into the Angels days, and then also just at least getting a view of it with how he dealt with the media. He stood out. He was an outlier. Like I talk about relationships with almost every manager that I came across. His was the only one where he seemed like in a terrible mood and did not treat many broadcasters well. I'm speaking for many. So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I need to say is yeah.
Okay. My turn now.
Someone has to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I would, Jim Crane.
I've been one. Hold on. Before you go, I'm just going to say, I've been one of those
What?
broadcasters that he's
Not been nice to?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you played. Not that should even matter.
Well, maybe he's still
say
mad because
not
he didn't
nice.
win a World Series game when I played against him. I don't know. Happy anniversary. Boom.
What? Hey, congrats on that. What does not nice mean? Like just like short and like no info?
All of the above.
No info would be a win.
Yes.
I've gotten that where you get the runaround. That's fine. I am Kratz. You know me now.
One
for a
word
while.
answers.
I do, and that's why
One word answers. Yes, no, and not even looking at you when you talk to him.
But is it like
Is he that
I'll
bad?
give you all you need to know because I know how you are as a person, Kratz. Not treating others like they're humans. That's not cool, right?
I'm out
Like
on that.
I'm above you. I don't need to answer you. This is a waste of my time. Like so many, like, and I've probably come across and had to do interviews maybe 5 to 10 times, right? And it's like nobody wants to do it. Eventually, even like where I worked last time around, like people were like, "Ugh, like we have to bring him on. Like he doesn't want to do it. Why? And it's not interesting. He's not nice to us. It's you're getting him ready for the interview if it's an interview versus the behind the scenes stuff. And it's like, okay, whatever. Like it's not even funny. It's just you don't feel like you're being respected as a human being. And I can't think of almost anyone in baseball that has treated me or others to that extent.
Look down on. Like I'm looking
Very
down on
much.
Locane right now.
Very much.
I look down on Locane.
I have to go there. I've never said it publicly, but I'm sorry. Like when I see someone as a strong candidate for a job like that, I don't know if the homework's being put together. I'm not the only one to think this because I don't have something like that to say about almost anybody else in baseball, coaches, players, etc. Like I'm pretty easy. Even if a dude's shy or he's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do this interview or I don't want to talk to you or whatever. I don't care. This is just a level that I don't stand for.
Yeah, and I can respect that. But here's the thing with Jim Crane. You're saying he wins. His teams win. He has hired some bangers of managers like AJ Hinch. I think the world of. So many people think the world of Dusty Baker. So his next hiring here, like you feel like he that's one area he can do a good job. Maybe he's not a like people person, and I think he probably made a lot of these extensions or contract decisions this past offseason because they were going through GM issues. Like he sucked at that. Jim Crane brought in Jose Abreu, brought back Michael Brantley. He was hurt most of the time, so that doesn't really count. And Rafael Montero got extended, or maybe he was a free agent. I'm not exactly sure. They all combined for they were negative WAR combined. So while he didn't do real well in the free agent market, he has hired some great managers. Like especially after they got rid of, well, I don't know if he was the owner when Bo Porter was in, but they got rid of him and he went AJ Hinch, Dusty Baker. So to me, I think he will probably get the right person. Now, is Brad Ausmus too much in his ear as a ex-guy? But I don't know.
Friend of Bagwell. You know, I don't know Bagwell, so
I don't.
I know that he's tight with Crane, so there's a connection there. My thing was more just, I don't know, do your homework, or I don't know what I'm missing. You know, like I'm open conversation. We're talking for 2 hours every day. I'm just like, I don't know if you've come across him at all, Low. And then all right.
I haven't.
You haven't.
I mean,
okay.
Just played against him, but as far as just meeting him, talking to him, never experienced anything. But he's obviously rubbing people the wrong way. So something's not adding up. Somebody's missing something, and for him to continue to get jobs or be top candidates for jobs is, you know, maybe people will start to figure out this guy doesn't belong in my clubhouse. So we'll see. Time will tell if he gets the job in, you know, with Houston or not. So just kind of wait and see approach on that.
Yeah, I think that's all. I'm curious to see how that goes because, you know, it's definitely a connectivity kind of business, networky. So if he hires him, I think it could really hurt the team.
He's had 2 chances already. I mean, he already was in Detroit with the unbelievable team.
That team was sick.
And then he went to Anaheim, and how long was it? A year?
I think a year, and then Madden came, right?
But he wore out his welcome in Anaheim, didn't he?
Yes, very quickly.
Like people were like players were publicly going after him.
They were like, no, stop this. And they did. I give Artie credit for that.